This Wednesday NBA Player Props edition of the Propcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for player props, parlays, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off of your first purchase today. Welcome, everyone, to the Propcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, November the 8th, currently 12:43 on the East Coast. Here to get into our player props for the Wednesday schedule in the association. And joining me here to help me break it all down, you guys know him here as the voice of the Propcast on the NBA pod and, of course, on the NFL Propcast as well. I got my guy here with me. It's Chris B. Cap. And Chris, how's it going this Wednesday afternoon, brother? How you doing?
Man, it's going well. You know, it was a perfect day to kind of reset and recharge, kind of get centered because we got so many games today. So hopefully people, kind of took yesterday to not rest completely because, the lines were out yesterday and, some of them are on the move. Still got a bunch of injury implications, but I'm excited, always excited to do the show with you, man. I know we gave us some winners last week. And hopefully we can kind of continue that, man. Looking forward to it for sure. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were complaining that there was no NBA action yesterday, but yeah, I get it. We love NBA. We're NBA junkies and basketball and things like that. But I think you hit it the nail on the head. Is that it kind of gave us a day. And I know you did it. I know a lot of the NBA cappers that we talked to kind of just took the day to just kind of catch up on trends and stats that we were looking at within the first 2-3 weeks here. I know each team has at least 6 or 7 games under their belt. And I know a lot of us like looking at those last 5 game stats or whether it's player stats or whatever the case might be. So, as much as I missed recording pod yesterday and talking about the association, it just kind of gave us a great day to kind of just, like I mentioned, take a step back, take a breath, just catch up and look forward to the lines of Wednesday, but also kind of look back and see, some of the injuries that these teams are dealing with, which players have been stepping up in those spots, which kind of player props the market is still undervaluing where we can take advantage of. I think that we've done a pretty good job here of identifying those spots here, Chris. Monday was a great day for me. Had a 9-0 day start in the association. I know you had a great day as well. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into this Wednesday card, a full schedule of games on the NBA docket here tonight. But Chris, I wanted to ask you if there has been any players that have kind of caught your eye here that you've been betting on their player props. Obviously, we'll probably discuss those in our player prop section here when we give out our prop bets for the Wednesday card. But I think I mentioned this last week or the week prior when we started doing the NBA Propcast for this season, is that my focus has really kind of been this season is to bet on player props on guys that, aren't the marquee superstars of the league, right? When we talk about the Lucas of the world, the LeBron, the Anthony Davis of the world, I've tried to gotten away from those type of guys. I think I've found some type of success betting on guys that are still could be star players, but also, markets or where the books haven't caught up on some of these guys, which I think we've been really able to take advantage of. But is that kind of your same process, what you're looking at when we talk about these player props? I know the only guy that I've really been on superstar is Giannis, and that also only his rebounding props. But other than that, I've tried to stay away from those superstar players because we talk about it. There's a lot of, I guess, an extra tax that goes to those superstar players day in and day out. But is that similar to your process as when you're looking at player props?
Yeah, I think so. I think just kind of I think I view it just a tad bit different than pretty much everybody else. But a lot of what you're saying correlates to what I do as well. So when I'm paying a tax is something that you don't necessarily want to do. You take a superstar player to go over 30.5 points and they finish right at 30, and it's like they still had a great night. They shot the ball successfully, and you just don't cash your prop. So I think finding those sweet spots, kind of those role players that are going to get more usage, have more shot attempts due to injury. Those are the guys that I'm targeting more so than not either. But like you said, Giannis for yourself, if I think I'm going to talk a little bit about Anthony Davis today. He's one of those guys you're gonna have to pay the tax for. Donovan Mitchell's another guy that's absolutely been killing it. Mm-hmm. So there are some of those superstars that you can bet on and still be profitable at the beginning of the season. But you do want to make sure that those guys are in good situations, that they're highly motivated. Because 100%. If they're not, not on this first leg of a back-to-back, those are the things I'm looking at. Because they kind of got to leave some in the tank when you're on the second leg of that, when you're on the first leg of that back-to-back, especially if it's a meaningful conference opponent. Those are the things that I'm kind of looking at. One guy that I want to mention real quick is a guy that a lot of people probably aren't paying too much attention to, which is Marcus Saucer out of Detroit, the Detroit Pistons. This guy, it's like you kind of said, I think he's in a pretty good situation today. I haven't bet his props, but he's picking up the minutes, 18 and a half minutes. And, Coach Monty Williams is not going to put a lot of people in that position. He's really kind of limited, those guards, but he's in a really good situation again today. Just because they're injuries that have kind of, deflated this backcourt outside of Cade Cunningham. And he gets a Milwaukee defense that, isn't really playing that well, especially against guards. So it's guys like that, Saucer, he's averaging 9 points, and he had a game the other day where he hit 3 threes. So, 3 threes were plus 750 for Saucer. So, it's just different situations like that. You absolutely got to be locked in and know what's going on with these teams and what's going on with these players, and make sure that the opportunity presents itself, and we can make some money for sure.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said that when you're talking about these superstar players, it's that being in the right situation, right? To bet on their player props, whether you're going over or under their prop, and again, motivation as well. So a lot of times we've talked about, or I have, when I'm looking at quote unquote those revenge angles that people are talking about. Maybe a lot of people don't buy into those narratives, but I think this was something that I think it was we talked about it on I mentioned on Ski Show was Lauri Markkanen back in Chicago the other night, and 2 games since he left the Bulls, or he got traded to Cleveland and then over to the Utah Jazz. He had dropped, I think, 28 both times in the games prior to the Monday game. I think he had another like 28 or 32 point game against the Bulls in that game. So there's a ton of things that we kind of do look out for early on in this year. All right, Chris. Before we do get into our player props here, let me tell everyone about Bet365. We're brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. Props, sides, totals, live betting. Bet365 has you covered. And if you like boost, you're going to love Bet365. Like a 30% boost on your NFL same-game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer if your team goes up 17 points. Sign up today and choose from 2 bonus offers, either a $1,000 first bet safety net, or bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. Again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's fantasy stats and cash in. Watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy using promo code SGPN. And stay tuned at the end of the episode. Myself and Chris will put together an Underdog Fantasy entry for the NBA action here tonight. All right, Chris, let's get into our player props here for the Wednesday schedule. Huge slate, a lot of player props to cash in on. Lead us off, my man. What's your first player prop for tonight?
So we're going to the good old Eastern Conference battle of the two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. We're looking at the Philadelphia 76ers, who are home dogs. I want to say the last time I checked, the line was 2, taking on the Boston Celtics. Of course, the Boston Celtics just, got their first loss of the season in Minnesota, and Anthony Edwards, coming out type game. But I'm looking in this game, I'm looking at Joel Embiid. I like Embiid a lot in this matchup. It's a lot of things the way I kind of cap the game before I cap the player prop. So for Embiid and the Sixers, you're extremely comfortable. This is, I think, and the schedule makers did them a really good, a really good deed at the beginning of the season. I think this is 5 straight, maybe 6 straight home games. I can't remember exactly what that number is right now. So you're very comfortable, being in the same gym, getting into your same routine. This is also the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. So specifically what I'm targeting, I'm looking at his assists, So under Nick, a lot of it has to do with Nick Nurse, but then also going back and checking the data, it also lines up as well. So under Nurse, he's been much more of a facilitator, largely due, I think, to Nurse kind of using them at the top of the elbow versus him being on the block where he can't necessarily pass out of double teams as well, right? He has his back turned. When you catch the ball at the top of the key, when you catch the ball at the elbow, you can look left, you can look right, you can look to the corner. So I really like that for Embiid a lot. I've been watching them and kind of watching, this as well. He's a willing passer as well, averaging 6.2 assists on the season. He has at least 6 assists in 5 of the 6 games this season so far. And the game that he came up short was actually the game against the Suns on Saturday, where he didn't even play the fourth quarter. I know he played 31 minutes, but he wasn't needed in the fourth quarter because the Suns, I think, went 2 for 14 or 3 for 18 or something like that from the field. And then last but not least, historically, Embiid has actually cleared this line of 4.5 assists in 7 of his last 8 games dating back to the 2021 season against these same Boston Celtics. So it doesn't really matter if the coach is Ime Udoka or Mazzulla. Embiid is going to have a lot of usage tonight, and I think he will go over this assist number. When I looked at it last, if it was 4.5, it was minus 130, so you are laying a little bit of juice. Yeah. I think it's an excellent parlay piece if you want to kind of reduce the juice and kind of add something else that you may want to play with it. But Embiid over 4.5 assists, I'm willing to lay 1.3 units on this to get 1 unit as well.
Yeah, Bet365 right now has that Joel Embiid assist at minus 125, 4.5. So, like you mentioned, Chris, that it's been the way Nick Nurse is utilizing Joel Embiid and putting him in the right spots to facilitate. I think that's a correct way to put it, because we know he's going to get his points, right? The guy's an absolute animal. He's already averaging 32.5 points per game this season. But if you look at his assist, he's cashed this 4.5 number in 4 of the last 5 games during the regular season, like Chris alluded to as well, that he's done it in the last, 8 out of 9 last games against the Boston Celtics in his career.
7 of the last 8, yeah.
So, 7 of the last 8. So I like it. And then, I wouldn't be opposed to his points either if you want to do points and assists as well. But Chris on the assist here at 4.5. Last 2 games against the Boston Celtics in the regular season, 5 assists and 6 assists, but he also had 41 points and 52 points in the last game against the Boston Celtics, 20 of 25 from the floor. But here we're looking at Joel Embiid's assist to go over 4.5 in this game. All right, Chris, for my first player prop, I'm going to go over to the shootout that should be in this game this evening between the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets. And I'm going to go with LaMelo Ball over 9.5 assists. I'm going to go over to 10.5 assists as well, because last night when I was looking at this, and again, this is what we talk about getting on those parlay props early, that this number was around minus 110, minus 115 on the over 9.5 for LaMelo Ball. That now, the VIG has now skyrocketed on Bet365 up to minus 150, I believe. And I don't know why I don't see. There we go. LaMelo Ball. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's up to minus 150 now, but I would take this up to 10.5. And you take a look, number one, the total in this game here. This number is sitting at 240.5. 240, right now. So obviously we're expecting a shootout, and we've seen this season, Chris, that both of these teams have been involved in shootouts, especially the Washington Wizards, where they've been giving up at least 120 plus points to their opposition in their road games. Now, also what kind of stuck out to me here is that you take a look at the Charlotte Hornets defense, the Washington Wizards defense against the point guard position. They are allowing the most assists to that point guard position thus far this season, averaging 13.7 allowed through the first handful of games here. Another point in this game that Terry Rozier is going to be missing this game for the Charlotte Hornets. And I know early in the season, Coach Steve Clifford came out and said that LaMelo Ball was going to be hovering around that 30 to 31 minute mark. But now with the injury to Terry Rozier, we're going to see LaMelo Ball playing more minutes here. His last game against the Dallas Mavericks, he did play 39 minutes. He did have 13 assists in that game. Back-to-back games, he's put up 11 or more assists against the Pacers, 11 assists against the Dallas Mavericks. He had 13 assists, like I mentioned. And again, I would put him on triple-double watch in this game as well because, again, we know that LaMelo Ball is that type of player that can go out and get those triple-doubles, especially in a game that has a total of 240. Both of these teams are bottom 4 in defensive rating. Both of them are top 5 and top 4 in pace. So this should be a track meet here tonight. I'm expecting a huge night for LaMelo Ball here tonight. So over 9.5 assists, it is at minus 150 on Bet365, but I would buy this up to or take it up to 10.5 as well. But officially, I'll lay the vig here. I do expect LaMelo Ball to get into double-digit assists here tonight. Chris, what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the number to see if I find it better, but I couldn't talk you off. Like this is you said something that was funny and I almost cut you off, but I didn't want to. I wanted to let you finish your thought, and that was you said you're looking at this Washington Wizards defense, and I wanted to say what Washington Wizards defense? There's no defense in Washington or in Wizards. It shouldn't be one in Wizards, but it it just happens to be. And that's really what this comes down to. If you talked about the added usage rate without Terry Rozier being there. Interested to see what that number was. I did want to look that up because I do think that that's pretty interesting. But yeah, how do you not play this? LaMelo just played on the second leg of a back-to-back, and he's really starting to come into his own. I think at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were pretty down on him just because I think naturally you kind of got to get back into the flow. We got to remember he played less than 40 games last year due to injury. So, taking all those things into consideration, extremely fast-paced game, because the Wizards probably also see this game as a winnable game. And we do see a point spread less than 5. So, absolutely, The last thing I want to mention, I was looking at some numbers while you were talking. LaMelo Ball, the Charlotte Hornets actually have a 112 defensive rating without LaMelo on the floor. With LaMelo on the floor, it jumps to 121. So LaMelo's not playing defense, and that's just up and down. He's just they just want to run up and down the floor. And this is an excellent prop. Did you see the number on that usage rate? Because I am interested to know what that usage was for LaMelo Ball in this.
Let me see if I can quickly find it here.
Let me see if I can pull it up too.
Here we go. Let's see. LaMelo. He is at 27.4 right now. But again, yeah, and I think that's only going to increase, right? Because we also mentioned the injury to Terry Rozier, so he should be playing a lot more minutes in this game here against the Hornets. I quickly want to see what he's also, before we get to your next player prop here, Chris. LaMelo Ball without Terry Rozier in the lineup, what his numbers look like. Okay, so dating back to the last season, 4 straight games from December 2022 to November 5th. There's a stretch of so from December 19th last year, 2022, up until November 5th of this season, 2023, there was a stretch of 4 games where LaMelo Ball played without Terry Rozier. In all 4 of those games, he had double-digit assists, 12, 12, 10, and 13. And also 3 straight games he's recorded a triple-double without Terry Rozier in the lineup. So keep that in mind if you want to sprinkle on the triple-double. All right, Chris, before we get over to your next player prop, let me tell everyone about Game Time. Look, if you're looking to get out to a ball game, we have college football in full swing. College basketball just started. NBA's in full swing. I know MLB just ended. NFL is still going on. And maybe it's just not the sporting event you want to get out to. You want to see what if there's any comedy shows or theater tickets in your area or any theater shows going on. Let's Game Time take that stress away from you. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't have to be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets, their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. Their app is really great to use. They have a lot of great flash deals and last-minute tickets right up to the Game Time event or the theater event or a comedy show event. And it's easy to find tickets and buy tickets as well for every type of event in your area. They also have images of seat views, lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection as well. And again, Forget having to planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. And again, get flash deals, exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, comedy, concerts, theater, and much more. The Game Time guarantee means you always get the best price. So get this, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's how confident they are in their prices. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for player props, parlays, and game lines. Use their revolutionary parlay optimizer to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rates for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Again, go to hofbets.com, use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, Chris, let's get over to your next player problem, man. What do you got?
All right, so let's go to the guy that I spoke about just a tad bit earlier, Anthony Davis. I like him in this spot, man. I know it's fragile. I know we call him Anthony Street Clothes Davis, all that good stuff, but I think he's in a really good spot tonight, man, against your Houston Rockets. So just kind of going through and looking at the numbers, I like his points plus rebounds in this spot, to be specifically. 37.5 is the number, so you are paying a little tax, but I mean, that's a 25-13 game from Anthony Davis, something that he should be capable of against Alfred Sengun in this Houston Rockets defense. And I love that you can get it at plus money. It's actually plus 100. So even on points bet, 24-12 is what he's averaging on the season, so 36 points plus rebounds. But I love this one because the Lakers, you cap the games before you cap the props, in my estimation. They've been terrible. 3-game road trip. They started off by getting smacked up to Orlando, which is kind of what kicked the weekend off. Then they go to Miami and they bounce back, but they still lose the game. They lose the game by 1. So I think we get a very motivated Anthony Davis. He also didn't play as many minutes in that game. And I know the Lakers will get Rui Hachimura back, who also supposed to play in this game. But to me, this bodes really, really well for a really great game for Anthony Davis. I was looking at his matchup specifically, just against this Houston Rockets team and against Alfred Sengun. And I think it's only been one time since he's played against Sengun. He had 40 points and 9 rebounds in that game back on April the 2nd of last year. And I think we see something similar. I know that there's a narrative going around, not even a narrative. There's a video clip of, Dillon Brooks saying that he's going to lock LeBron James up. But I don't think LeBron's going to buy into that. If I also think that if you're the Lakers, right, you have to be thinking, we have to be able to do more. This team has struggled to score the ball specifically. They've gone under the team total in more games so far this season than they have gone under. And I think a lot of that, then they've gone over. A lot of that has to do with, the injuries. Gabe Vincent is not there.
Sure.
Rui Hachimura has missed some time. Austin Reeves just looked a little fatigued, even though he's been picking it up recently. And they're still kind of trying to, build chemistry and camaraderie amongst each other. Yeah. So Anthony Davis should dominate this matchup. And I look for him to kind of take the pressure off LeBron having to do everything in this spot, So give me Anthony Davis over his 37.5 points plus rebounds in this spot tonight.
Yeah, I think the interior defense of the Rockets it's just not there right now. I know the perimeter defense, we talked about with Dillon Brooks is there. And surprisingly, Dillon Brooks is having a pretty good season for the Rockets. And I'm very surprised about that. But the man has an issue about running his mouth. And I'll get your thoughts on this here in a second because you are the Lakers fan. Don't poke the bear, man. Like, as much as I don't despise LeBron. I respect his game and I respect what he's done in this league, but you poke the bear, it's going to be a problem for you. And like you mentioned, also for the Lakers, right? They haven't won a road game yet, if I'm not mistaken. And they're coming into this game against the Rockets where I haven't been overly impressed because of the quality of opponents that they have played. Like the last 2 games against Sacramento Kings, right? That was without De'Aaron Fox, and we know how much of an offensive shift or a down what should I say? How the word is. Um, the output goes down for offensively for the Sacramento Kings without De'Aaron Fox. But going back to your point about Anthony Davis, I think the only you're the Lakers fan, so you probably have more information on this. Is there any? I know that he said that he's going to be out there playing, but is there any concern about the injury that he did suffer in the last game against Miami Heat, or do you think that's just something that he's going to just play through and just dominate here tonight?
Yeah, no, so I did read into that. Shout out to Mike Trudell, the Lakers beat writer that I follow pretty closely. He reported on it. Anthony Davis came out and had a quote about being fine, and he probably could have returned to the Miami game. But with Anthony Davis, you want to be extremely cautious. So if you're playing this and you're playing for it to win a unit, typically you might want to play to win a half unit with Anthony Davis because he is a little fragile. But I do expect him just to dominate this matchup. I mean, I think he typically gets criticized, and I know LeBron's come out and said that Anthony Davis specifically doesn't. He's not on social media a lot, but he hears that criticism. And I also think that eventually, if you're the Lakers, man, you gotta want to step up so LeBron eventually can do less. LeBron, the plus minus, I think the Lakers were minus 70 with LeBron off the floor at the end of last game. And that's like, you can't do that as the Lakers. Like, eventually you guys kind of got to pick it up. And the Houston Rockets aren't the greatest defensive team. So it does bode well for this matchup for Anthony Davis just to kind of dominate this one. Hopefully he does. And like I said, over 37.5 is the prop that I took.
Yeah, don't be fooled by the defensive numbers right now for the Rockets because they played Sacramento in two games where they didn't have De'Aaron Fox, like I mentioned. So that numbers are a little bit skewed. I think this is a high point right now for the Rockets, but we'll see if they do pull it off against the Lakers here tonight. All right, Chris, for my next player prop, I'm going to go over to a guy that some people that have caught their eye on, and some may have not yet. But I'm going over to that Dallas Mavericks and the Toronto Raptors game. I'm looking at Scotty Barnes, man. Rebounds and assists to go over 13.5. And let me get the updated number here on Bet365 because it's when I was looking at this yesterday. It was at 13.5 at even money. Let me see here. Player props, rebounds and assists. Scotty Barnes, 13.5 at minus 105 now. Perfect. He's taking that leap this year, thus far this season. And then you just kind of look at his numbers. So on the years, he's averaging close to 10 rebounds. He's at 9.9. Assists, close to 6, 5.9. And he's getting it done in all three facets of the game. He's scoring the basketball, he's rebounding, and he's also getting the assists. So he's gone over this projection of 13.5 in 4 straight games for the Toronto Raptors. Just this month alone, in the month of November, he's averaging 10.3 rebounds and 6.3 assists. He's been in double-digit rebounds in 2 out of the 3 games this month. And like I mentioned, he's right at around averaging 10 rebounds per game. And also the minutes that he's playing, he's averaging 36 minutes per game thus far this season for the Toronto Raptors. And I think that, again, the usage rate is also going to be there for Scotty Barnes this season for this team. And I know there's been a lot of talk of how great Dennis Schroeder has been, and he's been in double-digit assists as well. But for Scotty Barnes, I think I'm trying to find the usage. Right? I just can't find it right now for him. I don't think he's in the top 50 right now for that category. Let me see if I can find that later. But I was on this last week for Scotty Barnes. I think this is a game where we talk about when we talk about this Dallas Mavericks team is I know they have Derek Lively starting at that center position now, but I think those rebounds are still going to be there for guys like Scotty Barnes. And just people don't realize he's a big guy, man. 6'8", 241 pounds. I mean,
did you not to cut you off? Did you see him back down Jeremy Sohan and dunk on him?
Yeah.
He said,
and that's exactly what it is about Scotty Barnes. So I like what I've seen from him. He's filling up the stat sheet, and also with rebounds and with steals and blocks as well. So right now at 13.5 at minus 105 against this Dallas Mavericks team, it might be a slower paced game, or maybe there's going to be bricks being put up, so those rebound opportunities are going to be there. But he's also a guy that's commanding this offense as well with Dennis Schroeder. So I'm going to go rebounds and assist Scotty Barnes over 13.5 minus 105 currently on Bet365 here, Chris.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Munaf. Not too much to add. I actually had this one written down as well. You laid it out perfectly. That usage rate you were talking about, Munaf, that you're missing, 25%. That's high because that's actually first on the team. We were talking about Schroeder getting double doubles. Schroeder's usage rate is only 21. So yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. You hit the nail right on the head. And the other thing when I was handicapping this game is the Rockets are in a very unique position because they're catching Dallas in a very bad, difficult travel spot. They have more rest than They have more rest than this Dallas Mavericks team before the game and after the game. Dallas will be traveling back, of course, from Orlando. Toronto just been chilling. They've been in San Antonio, just kind of, in Texas already, and they have more rest after the game as well. So, Scotty Barnes has really been doing it all. The only thing other thing I wanted to add, Bet365 is really good odds. You can actually get this at plus 100 on BetMGM right now as well. So yeah, right there with you, I actually had this one written down also.
All right. Player prop number 3, Chris, what do we got?
So let's go to Miami Heat, Memphis Grizzlies. You might know where I'm going to with this one, Jaren Jackson Jr., man. This dude, steals plus blocks. This number was also just a tad bit juice, but I'm willing to pay the juice for this one. Over 2.5, minus 140 is what I saw on DraftKings. I got to check the number on Bet365, but Jaren Jackson Jr., him and Desmond Bane literally having to do everything for this team right now. So I just need him not to get in foul trouble. Anthony Davis, I just need him to stay on the floor. And Jaren Jackson Jr., I just need him not to get in foul trouble. He's done so historically against this Heat team. In all 3 of the most recent matchups, he's gone over the number at 2.5. And we know how inflated Jaren Jackson Jr. numbers can be at home. So if you want to steal plus blocks, you definitely want to take him at home versus him being on the road because, we'll just say scorekeepers, they like him, Jaren Jackson Jr., steals plus blocks as well. So, and he's done this. He's played 6 games so far this season. He hasn't really gone over this number a lot. He's only over in 3 games. But 2 of those 3 games that he's actually gone over have actually been at home. So that also correlates with that spot as well. I went through and looked at the Miami Heat specifically. They're getting a shot block 6 times per game, which is actually the 11th most in the league. So, we know that they like to score from outside if they can, but I do expect the Memphis Grizzlies defense to kind of pick up just a tad bit. They got a big win against Portland in the second game of that back-to-back mini series that they had. So I do, and they've had a couple of days off, little extra days off as well. So I do expect them to have a lot of energy in this game, really close point spread. Jaren Jackson Jr. to get 4 or 5 blocks really wouldn't surprise me in this one. Getting them at 2.5 is a number that I'll definitely take 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I can't argue against it. It's at home cooking, right? I think that's something that we've talked about a lot this not this season, but also the past season as well about him. I don't want to say stat padding, but just getting, I guess, the benefit of the doubt going into his favor at home for Jaren Jackson Jr. But I think there's going to be a stretch where we start seeing this number move to 3.5 because right now it's still at 2.5 consensus. I do see that minus 150 for Triple J on Bet365, but I just think that, again, for Triple J going up against his matchup against the Miami Heat, I think there's definitely going to be an opportunity. And when we talk about this Miami Heat team, there's a lot of guys that like to penetrate to the basket, right? And then try to get those easy buckets. But now you have a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. right there in the middle who's in his career against the Miami Heat in 7 games averaging 1.4 blocks and 2 steals, 1.9 steals and 1.4 blocks alone. And he's gone over this projection in 6 out of the 7 career games against the Miami Heat as well. So definitely love this here for Triple J. All right, Chris, for my next player prop, I will go over to the game between the Portland Trailblazers and the Sacramento Kings here tonight. Looking at DeAndre Ayton to go over on his rebounds here tonight. That number moved yesterday from 10.5 to 11.5 now. I knew it would move to that number, but I'll give it out here at 11.5 for DeAndre Ayton. On the season, he's averaging 13.3 rebounds. He had a huge 23 rebound game against the Toronto Raptors. Memphis, he combined for 23 rebounds in those 2 games that they played in back-to-back against the Memphis Grizzlies. But I think this is a game where I'm just looking at the Sacramento Kings' lack of size to keep DeAndre Ayton off the boards. So far this season, the Sacramento Kings are allowing opposing centers to average 15.3 rebounds per game. Also, the power forward position, 12.9 rebounds per game. And you take a look at what DeAndre Ayton has done in his career against the Sacramento Kings. He's been in double-digit rebounds in 8 straight games against this Kings team. He's had a lot of success scoring the basketball as well. I know in this offense, he hasn't really been the focal point or getting the shot attempts with the Portland Trail Blazers. But again, he's been doing a great job of not only getting steals and blocks, but also rebounding the basketball here. So at 11.5 at minus 105 right now, currently over on Bet365. I'll take DeAndre Ayton to go over on his rebounds here of 11.5 against the Sacramento Kings here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, who else for Sacramento is he having to battle against outside of Sabonis for those rebound opportunities? This Kings team is I was doing some reading up on them because I really expected them to bounce back against the Houston Rockets the other day and not get mollywopped the way that they did. I mean, the Houston Rockets absolutely destroyed them in back-to-back games. And what came out of my reading was just finding stuff like a couple of the guys saying that it's really difficult for, and not this to invalidate any of this, but they're saying it's really difficult to play as fast as they want to and play really good defense. And the last part of defense, of course, is rebounding. We know what Aiden is going to do in that spot. This total also dropped 2 points, which I agree with the movement there, which I would have got on the under. And those low totals, especially in the Sacramento Kings game, only lead to more rebound opportunities. I wouldn't be laying the points right now with Sacramento. I think Portland can keep this game close, and if that's the case, it will be because of a lot of more missed shots. The Sacramento Kings have missed a bunch of shots recently, and I do expect that to continue because Portland's not great offensively, but they've done pretty well defensively so far, and it's led to some covers and some outright wins as well. So should be plenty of rebound opportunities for Aiden in this spot. I like that number a lot.
All right. So that is 3 player props each. Before we get to best bets and then our underdog fantasy entry, any honorable mentions you want to throw out here, Chris?
Man, I don't know where to start. I'll say no for now, but it's because it's so much. I don't want to make the pod 2 hours, but it's a lot to like tonight for sure.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's get into our best bets here for tonight, and then we'll put together our favorite price pick or our favorite stat projections here for our fantasy players for over on Underdog Fantasy. So let's start with best bets here, Chris. I'll let you lead off, man. Best bet for tonight. What do you got?
Best bet for tonight. We're going back to that first game I talked about. I like Joel Embiid over his assists. I also really, really like Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis over his 1.5 threes. This number is the lowest and the best odds that we're going to find right now, just because he is in a little bit of a slump. So minus 115 is the number. This number was juiced to like minus 160 at one point earlier in the season because he started the season off back-to-back. I think you want to say he had 5 threes and then 3 threes, but super buy low spot. Porzingis is only 3-6 to the over on this number this season. But for me, this is more so about the matchup. He's going under 3 of his last 4 games as well. Versus the Sixers, though, man, this is an eye test type play. I'm just watching Embiid, who will be the starting center. He does not like to leave the paint. This is very symbolic of Mitchell Robinson, who plays for the Knicks. They're just not comfortable out there. I watched the game when Philly played against the Suns the other day, and Nurkic shot 6. He was letting them things go. He couldn't make any. He only made 1. But the opportunities are going to be there, and I do think that Porzingis gets himself back on track. You just go through some of the other box scores with guys that kind of stretch the floor. Kuzma, I think Kuzma just hit 4 or 5 against the same team as well. And I know he's not playing the center position, but they don't really have a lot of bigs, so he could have been in that center, during that spot. So yeah, I really like Kyle Kuzma. I think this is, Porzingis. I really think this is ladder potential as well. Like it presents to me where we should probably put just a little sprinkle on Porzingis to hit 3 threes and Porzingis to hit 4 threes in this matchup. This is what they bought him for: to stretch the floor, get Embiid outside of the paint, and put him in those vulnerable positions. So give me Porzingis over his 1.5 threes is the best bet today. Minus 115 over on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Bet365 for the player milestones here for his threes. All right, here we go. So Porzingis, to make 2 is at minus 125. For 3 make 3s is at plus 300, and then 4+ is at plus 725. And I think, yeah, I mean, I 100% agree about what you're saying here, Chris, about Porzingis, right? I mean, you brought him over here for a reason. Uh, I know he's been a little inconsistent about, making the shots. But I think this is a game where I think the focus will definitely be on guys like Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown here, and I'm really intrigued to watch this game here tonight, just from an X's and O's perspective, and what these coaches do against each other. So, yeah, I can definitely get behind this for sure. All right, for my best bet, I'm gonna go over to that Cleveland Cavaliers in the Oklahoma City Thunder game. I'm looking at Darius Garland to go over on his assist mark here tonight. That's currently at 6.5 right now. Currently over on Bet365. So on the season, I know he's only averaging 6 assists per game. But you take a look, number one, over the last 2 games, um, the assists haven't been there. But I think the one thing I dug deeper is when you take a look at this OKC Thunder team, they are not doing a great job of guarding the point guard position. So they're giving up 9.8 assists per game to that point guard position. But I think what really jumped off the page for me about Darius Garland here, Chris, is that his history against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So he's gone over 6.5 assists in let's see how many games he's played in 7 of the 8 career games. Oh, sorry, 5 of the 7 career games against the OKC Thunder. And there's been games where it's 18 assists, 11 assists, 8 assists, and 13 assists in his last 4 career games. And this was just since the 2022 season. 18 assists, 11 assists, 8 assists, and 13 assists. I'm not sure if this game will turn into a shootout here tonight, Chris. But again, I do think that points will be had. The total is at 228 right now. The books are expecting this to be a close game, getting down to the wire here, where the Cavs are a 2-point favorite. But I think there's an opportunity for Darius Garland to, number one, he should be playing a lot of minutes here tonight. And I suspect Donovan Mitchell to go out and play good basketball. I know he hasn't been shooting the basketball very well, has Darius Garland, but I think the assists are definitely going to be there for him tonight. So Darius Garland over 6.5 assists here tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder here, Chris.
Yeah, this is I think just kind of I've been watching this team. I bet on them against the Golden State Warriors. And they now are complete, like this. I will be telling you on this. That's an excellent find on your part. For me, it's the complete roster, right? Like they I know they'll be on the road for this game, but you went out and you invested in Max Strus, who's looked excellent, right? And now you have your lob threat back in Jared Allen as well. Evan Mobley is coming into his own as well. And we know what Donovan Mitchell can do, catching the ball and shooting from 3. So I do expect him to have the ball in his hands a lot. This seems like a number that is a tad bit too low. I think we are getting up a discount. I do think that this number is going to creep up to 7.5, and it'll probably finish at like maybe even 8.5 for the season. Because now that Garland has his guys back, I do think that he continues to kind of crush this number. It's a pretty soft number in my estimation. So I'll be on this one as well with you. 6 assists on the season, but that doesn't tell the whole story. He's also leading the team in passes made at over 61. So yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, before we get out of here, let's put together a underdog fantasy entry here for the Wednesday games here tonight. So I'll go ahead and lead this off with putting our best bets in there. So Darius Garland higher 6.5 assist, and then Porzingis. Yeah, you said 3s, right, Chris?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Let's take him over 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. So go higher on that, and then I really do like Scotty Barnes here tonight on his rebounds and assists to go higher. So I'll do that at 13.5. And Chris, give me one more from your picks that you gave out for our entry here.
Let's go and beat assists.
Right.
That's clear. That's clear in 5 of the 6 games, and just him catching at the high post should equal more assists for him as well. I know those shooters are there. We got Maxey, we got Kelly Oubre Jr., we got we got Melton, we got a bunch of guys that's gonna knock down some shots when Embiid catches the ball.
All right, so we're gonna go Darius Garland higher 6.5 assists, Kristaps Porzingis higher 1.5 3-pointers made, Scotty Barnes 13.5 rebounds and assists combined higher, and then Joel Embiid underdog has that at 5 assists, but I think this will be a game where I'll be surprised if he gets a triple double here tonight, Joel Embiid. But 5 assists, I think that he'll definitely get into that range of 7 or 8 here tonight. So if all four of those stat projections for those players go higher, like we just mentioned, a $100 entry will get you a nice $1,000 payout currency over on Underdog Fantasy. So again, make sure to head over to Underdog Fantasy if you are a first time user of Underdog Fantasy. If you haven't signed up for an account, make sure to use that promo code SGPN. They will match your deposit 100% up to $100. So some extra cash to play with over on Underdog Fantasy. All right, that is going to do it for this edition of the NBA Propcast. Chris, anything else you want to mention, my man, before we get out of here?
Nah, man, enjoy the games tonight. Bet responsibly as always. And check me out on X at Crispy Captain, 2 P's, 2 N's. Enjoy the beautiful slate of basketball. I think we only got 4 games tomorrow. Already kind of, looking into those, trying to forecast those. But enjoy the games tonight, everyone.
Yeah, 100%. We'll be back later for the NFL Propcast for the Thursday night football game. So look out for us then. Till then, good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and let it ride.